Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Doc Fidelina Yuliaran. So this afternoon, I will going to tackle about the completion type of test and essays. So first, let's discuss the completion type of test. When we say completion type of test, completion test. This test consists of a series of items which requires the tester to fill a word or phrase on the blanks. This is also called filing the blank type of test. Completion test as a series of sentences in which certain important words or phrases have been omitted and blanks submitted for the pupil to fill in. A sentence may contain a simple blank or it may be contain two or more blanks. The sentences in the test may be disconnected or they may be organized into a paragraph. It is also free response type of the item in which the students must supply the missing information from the memory. Following are the advantages and disadvantages of completion type of test. Advantages of completion test. First, it provides a wide sampling of content. It efficiently measures lower levels of cognitive ability, and it requires more than simple recognition of information that eliminates the possibility of guessing as compared to true or false or multiple choices items. Completion items are easy to construct. You will find them useful in situations in which students must write a computational equation, define terms, list part names and function, and the like. And the following are the disadvantages. So, it may lead to lower use checking. Second, it is difficult to score and must be accompanied by grading criteria. And it can often conclude more irrelevant clues than the other items type. And there is a possibility of more errors in scoring, especially if using software that is somewhat restricted. And the assessment measures are restricted to your learner's recall of information. Here are the following rules and suggestions for the construction of completion test. So, number one, give the student a reasonable basis for the responses desired. Avoid indefinite statement. Example, here's the wrong and right construction of a sentence. Carlos Lanius was born in blank is wrong. And the right sentence, Carlos Lanius was born in the year of blank. Next one, avoid over multilated statements. Example, blank was the first to view the blank under the blank. Instead of blank was the first to view bacteria under the microscope. Number 2. Avoid giving the student unwarranted clues to the desired response. A. Whenever possible, avoid a and an immediately before the blank. Example, an blank cell is composed of nucleus. That was wrong. And the right thing is blank cell is composed of nucleus. Letter B. Do not indicate the expected answer by varying the length of blanks. Example, ribosomes is where synthesis of protein occurs. Number 2. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Example 3. Cell membrane guard the entry and exit of the materials in a cell. Letter C. Avoid lifting statements directly from the book. Example, the wrong one. Global warming is the result of accumulation of heat on the surface of the earth brought about by the concentration of gases in the blank. Letter D. Omit only keywords or phrases rather than trivial details. Letter E. Guard against the possibility that one item or part of the test may suggest the correct response to another item. Letter F. Avoid giving grammatical clues to the answer. The authors of the modern cell theory were blank. That was wrong. Improve your sentence like modern cell theory was theorized by blank. Number 3. Arrange the test so as to facilitate scoring. Letter A. Allow 1 point for each blank correctly filled. Avoid fractional credits or unequal weighing of items in a test. Letter B. Select the items to which only one correct response is possible. Letter C. Arrange the items as far as possible so that the students' responses are in a column at the right of the sentences. Example: a device used for magnifying objects that cannot be seen by the naked eye is called blank. The answer of that one is microscope. Blank is a type of microscope that contains two or more lens systems. The answer of that one is compound microscope. Number 3. Blank, part of microscope that is used for final focusing. The answer of that one is fine adjustment knob. Number 4. The magnification of high-power objective is blank. The answer is 40x. Letter D. Scoring is more rapid if the blanks are numbered and the student is directed to write his response in the appropriate numbered blanks. Letter E. Prepare a key for scoring by writing on a copy of the test all acceptable answer. So here the sample test items of completion test. Direction: fill in the blanks the correct word or phrase. Write your answer at the right column. Rule 1. Phycology is the study of blank. So the answer of that one is algae. Number 2. The utilization of biological organism systems are processes to convert materials into variety of products is called blank. So the answer of that one is biotechnology. Number 3. Discovered penicillin by accident. So the answer of that one is Alexander Fleming. And number 4. Blank and blank say that the structure of DNA is helix. So the answer of that is James Watson and Francis Crick. Now let's proceed to the guidelines formulation of completion type of test. The following guidelines can help you to formulate a completion type of test. 1. Avoid multilated sentences like this test item. So give enough clue to the student. Example of this one is the blank, any of the blank that is concerned with the blank and each blank and that entails blank observations and systemic blank. 2. Avoid open-ended item. There should be only one acceptable answer. This item is open-ended, hence no good test item. Example: Edgar Allan Poe wrote blank. 3. The blank should be at the end or near the end of the sentence. The question must first be asked before an answer is expected, like matching type of test, the stem, where the question is packed, or must be in the first column. Example: the original structure. Completion type of test is classified as one of the supply type or constructed response types of test. New structure or restructured. So classified as one of the supply types or constructed response types of test is completion type of test. 4. Ask question on more significant item, not on trivial matter. Example, Andres Bonifacio was born on November blank 1863. 5. The length of blanks must not suggest the answer, so better to make the blanks uniform in size. Example, a part of the words you substitute for specific nouns when the reader or listener knows which specific noun you're referring to is blank. Another one is a word used to modify or describe a noun or a pronoun. It usually answers the question of which one, what kind, or how many is called blank. Now let's move on to the essays. So the definition of essay is, the essay test is a test that requires the student to compose responses usually lengthy up to several paragraphs. So it is also classified as one of the supply types of constructed response type of test. Essay test is an assessment technique that requires students to thoroughly respond to a question or prompt by developing, organizing, and writing an original composition. The purpose of an essay test is to assess students' abilities to construct a logical, cohesive, and persuasive writing piece. An essay can be as short as 500 words. It can be also 5,000 words or more. However, most essays fall somewhere around 1,000 to 3,000 words. This word range provides the writer enough space to thoroughly develop an argument and work to convince the reader of the author's perspective regarding a particular issue. Some uses of essay test. The following are the uses of essay test. So first, assess the ability to recall, recognize, and integrate ideas. Second, assess the ability to express oneself in writing. Third, ability to supply information. Fourth, assess student understanding of subject matter. And measure the knowledge of factual information. Let's move on to the advantages of essay questions. So, the freedom of response allows the student to express himself in his own words. It measures complex learning outcomes that cannot be measured by other means. So, essay test promotes the development of problem-solving skills, and it helps students to improve their writing skills such as writing speed, and also it encourages creativity by allowing their own unique way. And it is easy and economical to administer. It encourages good study habits in students. Essay item is easy to construct and does not take much time. And it can be used to measure in-depth knowledge, especially in restricted subject matter area. It does not encourage guessing and cheating during testing. And the following are the advantages of essay. So, first, scoring is not reliable because different examiners can grade the score answer differently. In fact, the same examiner can grade the same question differently at different items. Second, grading of essay test is time-consuming. Subjective scoring of essay questions. Essay questions do not cover the course content and the objective as comprehensively possible. And And evaluating essay question without adequate attention to the learning outcomes is just like three blind men appraising an elephant. One teacher stresses factual content, one organization of ideas, and another writing skill. Essay questions can be used to measure attainment of a variety of objectives such as comparing or constructing, relating cause and effect. Number 3, justifying, summarizing, generalizing, inferring, classifying, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. First, the comparing. Comparing means compare to find the similarities or differences between two or more people or things. Example question. Describe the similarities and differences between ecosystem and a biome. Another example is compare and contrast the following methods of job evaluation. Next one is relating cause and effect. Means that cause and effect is the relationship between two things when one makes something else happen. Example, what are the causes of stress among teenagers? Another example is, what would be the most likely effect of puberty on self-esteem and confidence for Ruth? Justifying. It means that show or prove to be right or reasonable. Example, which of the following alternatives would you favor and why? And next one, explain why you agree or disagree with the following statement. Number 4, summarizing. Summarizing means giving a concise overview of the text, main points in your own words. A summary is always much shorter than the original text. Example question. State the points included in the Treaty of Versailles. Another one is briefly summarize the contents of marketing plan. One is generalizing. Generalizing make a general or broad statement by inferring from specific cases. Example, formulate several valid generalization from the following data. Another one is state a set of principles that can explain the following events. Next one is inferring. Inferring is defined as the process of figuring something out through reasoning. Example, what is most likely happen when the population continues to rise? Classifying, or to divide things or people into groups according to their type, or to say which group or type something or someone belongs to. Example, group the following items according to shape. It means that make a formal application or request. Example, describe the situations that illustrate the principle of management. Analyzing. Analyzing it means that study or determine the nature and relationship of the parts of something by analysis. Example, list and describe the main characteristics of cloud computing systems. Evaluating means form an idea of the amount, number, or value of assets. Example, describe the strengths and weaknesses of the following statements. And using the criteria developed in the class. It means that to evolve from one's own thought or imagination as a work of an art or invention. Example, design a plan to prove that will engage learners. Let's move on to the types of essay. There are two types of essay. First, the restricted essay and non-restricted essay or extended essay. Now let's discuss first the restricted essay. Restricted response usually limits both the content of the response by restricting the scope of the topic to be discussed. So, useful for measuring learning outcomes requiring interpretations and application of data in specific area. So here, example of restricted response. So, describe two situations that demonstrate the application of the law of supply and demand. Do not use those examples discussed in class. And another one is state the main differences between the Vietnam War and previous wars in which the United States has participated. The following are the advantages of restricted. So, first, restricted response question is more structured. Measure specific learning outcomes. Restricted response provide for more ease of assessment. Any outcome measured by an objective interpretive exercise can be measured by a restricted response essay question. So, the limitations of restricted response. So, restricted response question restricts the scope of topic to be discussed and indicating the nature of desired response, which limits student opportunity to demonstrate this behavior. Restricted response predicted on the motion that students supply the answers rather than selecting the answer from the group of options. Now let's move on to the extended essay or non-restricted essay. So extended response allows students to select information that they think is pertinent, to organize the answer in accordance with their best judgment, and to integrate and evaluate ideas as they think suitable. They do not set limits on the length or exact content to be discussed. Here the example of extended response or non-restricted essay. So, first, compare developments in international relations in the administrations of President William Clinton and President George W. Bush. Cite examples when possible. Next one is imagine that you and a friend found a magic wand. Write a story about an adventure that you and your friend had with the magic wand. The advantages of extended response. So, this type of essay item is mostly useful in measuring learning outcomes at the higher cognitive levels of educational objectives such as analysis, synthesis, and evaluation levels. So next is they expose the individual differences in attitude, values, and creative ability. So here are the limitations of extended response. So first, they are insufficient for measuring knowledge of factual materials because they call for extensive details in selected content area at the time. Next, scoring such type of response is usually difficult and unreliable since the examinees have free will in the array of factual information of varying degree of correctness, coherence, and expression. That's all for my topic, and thank you for watching, and God bless everyone.